Hey, welcome to Extension Tech Roundtable with your hosts Stan Scrabbit and Jerry Butchko. This is a weekly program where we examine various technologies in extension. Today's guest is Jeff Heino from Oregon State University, and our topic is about Ask an Expert. Welcome, everybody.
Good
Hello.
morning, Stan.
So, hey, Jerry, how are things out where you are this morning? Tell us
Uh,
where you're at and what you're doing.
oh, sure. Okay. Well, I'm out in Minneapolis, St. Paul, out here in Minnesota. It's a bright sunny day, which is nice this time of year. And yeah, we're just looking forward to our talk today with Jeff and finding out a lot more about Ask an Expert.
Very good. Hey, so just kind of this is our first one. I'm pretty excited about this and what we've got going on here. For the viewers that are checking in, I'm going to turn on some resources that we're going to be sharing that Jeff's going to be talking about, and you can see them in the showcase, and you'll be able to check those out. Also, if you have any questions that you want to present, we also have a Q&A that's available, and you can go ahead and ask questions there, and we'll see what's coming up, and we'll see if Jeff can answer those questions. But let's get on to our topic. Jeff, welcome. What do you
Hey,
got?
Stan.
What are you doing, and what do you got going on?
Well, unlike Jerry, I'm here in Oregon, and it's like rainy, and it's into the dark months from here till July 5th. So,
Oh,
welcome to Oregon.
that's part of the mystique of the Northwest, right?
Yeah, that's why it's such a green place. So I don't really have a problem with it. So,
So,
yeah, but happy to be here and happy to be sharing about Ask an Expert. And my goal today is to share some marketing ideas. Ask an Expert, I think, is a very easy sell. However, you can do a better job maybe with some new tools, and we've been developing some for eXtension. And I'll share those today. I've shown them at a couple of conferences. So some folks it may be a rerun, or it might be a reminder about how these materials can help better market Ask an Expert.
hey, but before we get into that, this idea of Ask an Expert, this is a program that's going on across the extension. So this is from eXtension.org. Why would a local community, why would a state want to get involved in Ask an Expert?
Well, Stan, Extension has been answering questions for over 100 years. And the idea that people come in with a simple problem they want solved. And 100 years ago, they walked into their county office and asked the agent for some help on a particular question. But as you know, times have changed. And there's lots of ways for folks now to communicate. So Ask an Expert brings that skill that Extension has in answering questions to a place where most people are going now for answers. So we need to have a presence there. Otherwise, we are at the mercy of Google as being the place people go for answers, and they can get answers that might be totally off the wall. So here's a chance for Extension to participate in a new, well, not new anymore, on an online forum based around the idea of questions and answers. It's the building block of learning is I've got a question, what's the answer? So really, like I say, I think it's an easy sell.
Right on. And one of the things that I know about the Ask an Expert, that the public questions actually also show up in Google, so that
Yeah.
helps us be found.
And the other thing I should mention is we're all up against it and making sure that Extension is a known entity amongst their state. And over 50% of those who are using the Ask an Expert system, over 50% is the first time they've interacted with Extension. It's a doormat to come into Extension. And the cool thing about Ask an Expert is your answer can be a doorway to all kinds of other resources, whether it's publications or perhaps even invitations to attend workshops or sign up for a short course. It's an amazing opportunity to bring in a whole lot of people to Extension.
Well, Jeff, I mean, I think that's really interesting. 50% of the folks who are coming to Ask an Expert, I mean, that's their first exposure to extension. I mean, do you have a general sense? I mean, can you give us a sense of the sort of the range of questions that have been coming in to get a sense of maybe the community members that are finding extension and sort of the variety in the kind of questions that they're approaching us with?
Well, it's no surprise that probably more than 70%, somewhere between 70 and 75% of the questions are home horticulture questions. So it's a lot about gardening, and they're gardeners are like information sharks. They're constantly circling around trying to find out something new about their garden. So that's a huge demographic. So as far as trends go, I don't think that's changed much over the 3 or 4 years we've been using Ask an Expert. It's still heavily oriented towards gardening. But we're trying also to keep Ask an Expert going out to different audiences, and we can talk about that with the marketing material. The demographics of who's using Ask an Expert, eXtensions recently added capacity for surveying the users 2 weeks after they get an answer. Very powerful thing, and really has a lot of implications. I don't know that they've done a complete analysis lately since they instituted that last December, but we do know some demographics that it tends to be oriented more towards females, 55 or older, higher income, and highly educated. That's kind of when I think about Ask an Expert, who's on the other end, I think of this gal behind me. She's on our Ask an Expert poster. But it's a sort of, if you had to do an average demographic, that's probably still somewhat accurate. But hopefully that would change. I think it's a really interesting challenge to get Ask an Expert out there to broader audiences.
Yeah, so one of the reasons that we asked you on is because you've had tremendous amount of success in Oregon in getting the word out about Ask an Expert and getting educators to use it. Let's dive in. What are some of the things that you've got going on? How have you made this a successful program in your state?
Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and start up a screen share then to give you some of that information. Take a moment here to point it out.
Nice coffee cup there, Jerry.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's from a blind vacation from many years back. Nice little reminder.
Okay, so are you seeing my PowerPoint?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Well, let me just sort of walk through this. I won't spend a lot of time on this because maybe it would be more interesting and fun to explore some of the nuances of things. But one of the things that we did here in Oregon was to take a aggressive approach to marketing Ask an Expert. And that means a lot of different things. And one of the side benefits of our decision to go down this road and create some really, I think, helpful materials was that eXtension became very interested in it as well. And all the stuff I'm going to show you, eXtension has now made available nationally. So what I'm going to show you are some materials you can use to help market Ask an Expert, both externally and internally. And we'll talk more about internal marketing because that's important. So things like new logos, videos, all kinds of printed materials, banners like the one that was behind me, and some other specialty products have been useful in kind of keeping Ask an Expert in front of people as best we can, and also to give it a uniform and, I think, attractive visual identity. So here's, for example, something we've changed. The original logo for Ask an Expert, if you went to a website, looked like the one on top, a little orange square, and then push here for Ask an Expert. Well, we've developed a new logo. You'll be seeing this throughout, the one with the question mark. And the idea here is we're hoping people will adopt this, and so it becomes a national identity for Ask an Expert. The other thing is, how you use that logo, and it can be put on all kinds of things, from the materials that are online. As you'll notice here that I've got Ask an Expert. This is our OSU extension main website, and Ask an Expert is right up in front of people there. Your eye just goes right to that. So, we've got to be building our website so that they attract eyeballs to your topic. So we're hoping the logo and other things will do just that.
So when you're working with educators that are putting together new websites, is this idea of weaving in Ask an Expert, part of that conversation? Is it part of a checklist that you're following?
Well, within our extension website sort of galaxy of websites, which are our main website, the one you see here, and then the 36 counties have websites, and all of those we put the Ask an Expert onto automatically. I mean, we push those out. Other sites, for example, I might have to approach them and say, we've got this Ask an Expert option. For example, our Sea Grant communication folks have a website, and so I approached them about putting Ask an Expert onto their system, since they have extension folks, but they're associated with the Sea Grant program. And we've been working to try to package, sort of wrap the Ask an Expert widget with the logo, perhaps with information about why people should push the button that maybe was within context of where they are. For example, if you're on the Sea Grant site, I helped them add language saying, got a question about why starfish are disappearing? Click Ask an Expert. Starfish disappearing is a big deal right now here in the Northwest. So we're trying to keep it in context. So I try to work with folks to make it their own, and so that it reflects their content. I do have some hopes to actually push Ask an Expert out to non-university affiliated sites. So we'll find out more about that. I think, for example, here in Oregon, forestry is a large part of our economy, and there is an educational association that's available to discuss forestry. So I'm going to say, hey, we've got forestry extension folks ready to answer questions. So I think they'll probably be very open to the idea. So I hope that answers your question. We push it out automatically, and we're also searching for new opportunities.
Right on. Hey, before you continue, we do have a short break in here that we want to talk about one of our programs in Extension. So I'm going to interrupt, and we'll let you get on to the next topic there.
Okay.
So Ask an Expert is a service provided by eextension.org where you can get one-to-one expert answers from cooperative extension and volunteers from across the United States. So far, approximately 200,000 questions have been asked since 2008 on topics ranging from food preservation to pruning and 4-H to social media. Do you have a burning question? Go to ask.extension.org to get your expert answer. And back to you, Jeff.
Hey, I'll buy one. Wait, there's more.
Take my money.
Okay. So let me run through some more materials that are available, and then we can tell folks how they can actually get these, because this is all about sharing. So we have the print pieces. For example, we've got business cards that have the Ask an Expert logo on it, together with, on the back side of it, has a QR code that takes folks right to the eExtension Ask an Expert widget. So it'll work anywhere. As opposed to, you could always put your own QR on the back to take them to your specific widget. Of course, a lot of states have implemented Ask an Expert where every county has its own widget, and that would be a little bit more of a problem. Here in Oregon, we have only one widget that rules them all. That way, we've got a different approach with program question wranglers watching and sending questions out. But despite that, you've got the option here for postcards, the kinds of things you can hand out. We've got a real handy tabletop display on the right that you can put the cards in. It works great at county offices, fairs, other events. And what we supply is all of the graphic information that you need to print these things out. You'll have to supply your own handy-dandy plastic card dispensing display devices, but they're only a couple of bucks. So there's that. We also have the banner, which was behind me. This is something, again, you have to invest a little bit in the actual hardware, but the actual banner graphics are all available for you. They are very eye-catching. We've used them for all kinds of things, including even Cycle Oregon, where we have 2,000 bicyclists riding around the state, and they're very often very interested in the kind of things Extension has to offer. So the banner can be used lots of ways, including even on the left side for a backdrop when you're presenting about Ask an Expert at Extension events. Here's a cool thing. Stan, you ready for this?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Yeah. So if you want to do an advertisement about Ask an Expert, you did a good job. However, we have some things that can help you advertise using video. So let me show you one of our videos here. So I'm going to switch over to the another screen share and pull up one of our videos. Now these videos are designed to kind of act as teasers to pull people in to Ask an Expert. So the one I want to start showing is a banner we've created. And you seeing that now?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Let me get this going here. This banner is designed to be used on your website. Let me just play a little bit, and maybe I can talk over the top if it isn't too loud. Here we go. How do you like it so far?
Well, we're not seeing the video.
Yeah. Let me reload this.
There we go.
Okay. And the music will start here in a moment. So what we did was take some of our more interesting questions and animated them to kind of pull people in about what Ask an Expert can do. These are real questions and real answers.
Oh, that's great.
So you can use this kind of banner video, again, to put at the top of your website or on your Ask an Expert page if you have one. And these are generic questions. They don't have any institution associated with them. So they would fit any location. You may or may not have pileated woodpeckers, but you certainly have spiders. So
Very nice. So these are available to other institutions?
yes, and all these are downloadable. Well, actually, all of these are located on the eXtension YouTube site. So you can make a link to it. I'm also going to be giving them the full the full video file, so people could go to their download site and get the full video. And there's a couple reasons one might want to do that. Because, for example, if you decide you want to actually broadcast these things, they are broadcast quality. So that's kind of a taste of that. We have other videos that include ones that are, for example, take one question and kind of use it as a teaser. Let's see if I can pull that one up here. This one is about a question we got regarding someone taking their dog for a walk, and the dog had a particular treat that it liked to eat, and I think you'll catch on pretty fast. Notice the Nutria scat is kind of blurred out. You want it to be TMI, you know?
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Very cool.
So the idea here is these questions can kind of sell people on the concept of what they could ask. And, you know, a lot of these questions are just fascinating. For those who have been working with Ask an Expert, it's a real window on what the public is thinking about. And sometimes they're hilarious, and sometimes the questions can break your heart. So it really is so many stories. Every question tells a story. So those videos, again, like I say, are available for folks to use. And
Jeff, I wanted to say too, just my impression of what you've shown us so far. It's so visually appealing. I mean, it really, I find myself like, oh, I'm drawn to it. It's engaging in that way, and at the same time, really, really approachable. That's just something I've kind of noticed in sort of the design sensibility of everything that you've shown so far. I think it's great.
yeah, we're trying to, like I say, give it a look and feel that's consistent. And if
Mm-hmm.
other states were to adopt this, I think it could help boost the overall awareness, and then everybody's marketing would help everybody else because everybody would be part of the same effort of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just for our viewers out there, um, part of the presentation that you're seeing in the showcase, you should be able to download or get to these links that are on the web. But we'll also put them in the show notes after the fact, and you'll be able to get to them. So,
Yeah. So I'm going to run through a few other little things here. For example, we mentioned you can use these videos on your site, but there's also something else you can think about. We've instituted something called the question of the week. Much like those questions that we used in the animations, there are questions that pop up that are really attractive and interesting, timely, and we'll feature those, bring them up from within Ask an Expert, and actually create a full web page associated with that question. Every week we have a new one, and we make sure that the author of the expert who answered it gets notification that they were selected, and we include their administrators in that email, and people respond. They like being noticed. So
Mm-hmm.
that's something else that's really important. I think about this effort is to keep it upfront, not only externally but internally. Something else, I'm sure a lot of people do this. Ask an Expert can feed into your social media. We start watching for trends. For example, recently we've got a lot of folks asking about stink bugs, of all things, that are showing up here in Oregon. So we fired that off to our social media gurus, and they take some of the questions and they get it out there through social media. So just like everything else, as you know, Stan, is all interconnected these days. So feed each other from social media.
yeah, and one of the important pieces about this, and I just finished reading a wonderful book called The Referral Engine, and part of that is talking about we need to put our content out there. We need to become a trusted source. So getting our stuff out there, and you're doing a marvelous job in doing that. So.
Well, I had an experience once where I decided to try one of these other alternatives that are out there for answering questions that are on the internet, and it boasted that we'll get a question answered within 2 hours. So I decided to try it. I submitted a question of, I've got moss in my grass in my yard. What can I do? And sure enough, I got an answer back within 2 hours. But guess what the answer was? It said use rock salt and Roundup. So I would have biblically killed my lawn, in other words, following that advice. So, Extension would never do that. We're science-based answers. So we need to constantly build that in to what Ask an Expert's all about. So you could even put it on your face with Ask an Expert lip balm, for example, just to people
really making that personal connection there.
Yeah, it is a very personal connection. But there's all kinds of things. Also, I want to make sure I do mention internal marketing, how important it is. We want to onboard experts all the time, whether they're new faculty and staff, let them know, bring them into the fold, get them up to speed on what Ask an Expert is, how it can increase their impact. All these things are important for keeping the program growing. Everyone is seeing growth in statistics of how many questions they get, and if that trend continues, it will need more experts.
Yeah, right now the Ask an Expert system is roughly getting about 1,500 questions, during the cycle that they're measuring. But I mean, this is significantly increased from when they started back in 2008.
Yeah, we've been watching it grow at about a 20% annual growth rate. And
Wow.
one of the things I make sure I do is actually share those statistics with administration as well. I'm very lucky and pleased that our administrators say Ask an Expert is an important program. It's not an option, that all faculty those should be involved. So we're constantly keeping them informed about how the impact of Ask an Expert is helping get Extension's message out there. So I'll wrap it up here and leave it open for whatever questions or other discussion. But I just want to make sure that this is a process that's ongoing. We have all these materials available, and Stan's, you're going to put that information about how to get those things. We are looking to create a second wave of Ask an Expert material. One that we're working on now is going to be an infographic, and a sneak preview is that we're looking at the anatomy of a good answer. In other words, we all are realizing that how you craft the answer can have great impact not only on the client but also on SEO, the ability for Google to find and actually put your answers up high in the ratings, if not first, under those topics. So how to write a good answer is really important. There'll be more videos. Again, just little teasers you can use throughout your Ask an Expert marketing campaign, websites, maybe even broadcast TV. Somebody might be able to afford that. So we'd like to also open it up if folks have ideas about how what kind of materials they might want to see. They should contact me, and we can put it into the mix. So all this material is available, and currently the distribution is on, some of it's available on eXtension, and Stan, you're going to mention how and where.
Absolutely.
Okay, and we just are excited about what this means. And by the way, I do have one last little piece of tchotchke we just developed that I need probably show here live. So let me go over to me, and do you see this thing?
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Your very own Ask an Expert coffee mug, because we know that experts are always, answering questions on caffeine. We use this kind of stuff.
Now I'm thinking Jerry with his coffee cup could use a new coffee cup.
Yeah.
Well, if you submit a really good question, Jerry, I will send you an Ask an Expert. Although it does have OSU on the other side. Sorry about that.
It's fine. I can live with that. Note to self.
Yeah, these kinds of things are a little more expensive. We're using them for. We give away gifts. I should have mentioned we give annual awards for participation in the program. We just did that a couple weeks back, and the top question answers, I actually gave them tablets. So they got their own Dell tablets. Of course, they were jury rigged, so they only did Ask an Expert, but I didn't tell them that.
Very nice. Hey, we got to take another break here real quick, and then we'll tidy up and finish up. But I'm going to move over to another topic, and this is learn.extension.org. It is your free access to cutting-edge learning events. These professional development sessions are brought to you by Extension and are open to anybody. Popular topics include finance, energy, social media for business, and many others. Many of the sessions are recorded for your viewing convenience. Look to learn something new and check out a session at learn.extension.org.
Sold.
Sold.
I want one.
So, anything else that you want to tie up that topic?
I guess, again, I just say that you have in Ask an Expert a product that is an easy sell, I think. With a little extra effort, you can give it a real sheen on your websites and other events. So I encourage people to try it out. It's a lot of fun, too.
All right. Hey, just kind of off topic, but something that we're planning to ask all our guests is, and I picked this up from another podcast, so it's strictly, and we're getting some feedback from somebody. But what is one of your favorite resources, technology resources that help you get your job done?
Okay, well, I'm going to say it's a book that I've been using, and it's called the Webinar Manifesto.
Ooh.
Ooh. Yeah,
Very
it's
nice.
it's a really interesting short book that just kind of goes through the do's and don'ts of creating basically webinars that aren't boring. Like your guys is doing a great job. You're probably following this book. You have this book, Stan?
No,
Jerry?
I do not.
Oh, well, you probably
My
looks like you've
listening.
already read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, as we're doing more and more webinars, I think it's really important to try to do as well as you can. And this little pamphlet is almost like a short political tabloid. It's got some great ideas for you.
Very cool.
Wonderful.
Very cool.
I'll definitely check
All right,
that out.
so let's kind of go around and what's everybody working on that they're excited about and that we should keep an eye on? Jerry?
Ooh, wow, so many things. I guess the top of the list right now, it's got me excited. And I and a few folks from the NetLit COP community are developing a webinar, speaking of webinars, about leveraging technology for collaborative work. So we're in the middle. We're just kind of spinning that up right now, kind of playing with some ideas. And I think we've got some good plans for perhaps even a series of interesting webinars. But we're going to be focusing on how, we might provide guidance in helping folks to pull together projects, evaluate different technologies, and then kind of employ them for effective collaboration. So that one's got me really fired up.
Right on. Very cool. Jeff, how about you?
Well, I'm going to mention something that, Stan, you and I were just a part of, and that was the newly formed EdTech Extension Learning Network. We were excited. We went back to Ohio. This is a new group formed in eExtension, the Educational Technology Learning Network, and Jamie Seeger and Jerry Thomas from The Ohio State University are spearheading that effort, and Stan and I were delighted to go back last week, wasn't it, and go into the beautiful town of Columbus, city of Columbus, and sort of do a kickoff planning session for what I think would be a very valuable new learning network for folks interested in applying technology in extension. So I think I'm going to offer this up, Jerry and Stan. I think you guys should consider featuring that network as one of your topics.
Thanks. We'll put that on the list.
And watch for details on how to join. We're going to be pushing forward a little bit of a marketing campaign.
And right now, the things that are getting me excited are, this vodcast that we just kicked off today. This is good. And I have another one with Bob Birch coming up, and it's going to be on What's Up Joe, kind of behind the scenes on some of the journal extension articles, and so we're looking to do that. For next week, Friday, we have Sarah Bauman coming, and she's going to be talking about the analytics that extension educators should track for their social media work. And so I think that's going to be another great session. I'd like to thank Jeff and Jerry for hanging out today, and thank everybody for being part of our Extension Tech Roundtable. And have a great day and do good things.
Hey, thanks, Stan, for the opportunity. This is terrific.
Yeah.
Hey, Jerry, thanks.
Yeah. Jeff, thanks for sharing with us. It was great.
All right, well, everybody have a great weekend.
Yeah, we'll be, hold on one sec.